Hi guys, Piotr here, this is LiteFinance Global YouTube channel. My pleasure to be with you again. Today we are going to discuss again scalping, but this time the question is if we can scalp 5-minute charts. So within the next few minutes we will try to answer that question. All right, so if we want to answer this question properly, you have to go back and you have to watch quite a few educational videos I prepared already. And well, you have to understand what we are trying to scalp. In case of some break or not break structure, we are trying to scalp this point to the downside, or in case of the breakout, we are not scalping the top. All right, we are not scalping this one, but we are scalping that one in case of the return to the move higher. So that's one of the structure. The other one is, for example, if we have some kind of the resistance over here, but market is trying to fight this resistance, right? And we have attempt to rally with the quick reverse, we know that this is our selling point the next time we are going to approach. Of course, longer time frame is to the downside, and that's the short-term time frame, and we are want to see the price after the retest going lower. So that's the thing, that's what you have to understand, what we are going to try to achieve, right? What we are looking for. So in case of the move to the downside, we are looking for false stop count to the upside. In case of other structures, depends of the thing if the structure is being broke to the upside, broke out to the upside or downside, or it's not, right? Then we are trying to adopt the strategy into that. So today we are going to focus on the scalping 5-minute Bitcoin chart, and as you probably know, right now we are well above 20k, the support we're discussing quite a few times when we were checking the Bitcoin chart. But before that happened, right, the overall trend on the Bitcoin was to the downside, right? That was the case. So we have here the green line, and that represents the demand based on the daily chart, and that's something we're discussing quite a few times. 20k, 18k, that's the level of the possible support. Then we have quite few lines, right, represents what is going on the intraday basis, right? So that's quite important, because when you are trying to apply scalping strategy, it's always first thing first, you have to answer yourself what kind of the trader you are, right? If you are really well prepared for a scalping. Well, why? Because the losing streak could be quite long, and if you cannot handle it, well, I'm so sorry, but you are not gonna be good scalper. Maybe swing trading, maybe some kind of the day trading or conservative trading is what is suitable for yourself. If you are trying to scalp, you have to handle psychologically saying what is going on in your head. That's the key thing. Anyway, trying to focus on what we are discussing here. So that was the intraday supply line. As you can see quite a few times when it comes to the Bitcoin, the overall trend was to the downside. So 20,050 was the psychological supply level. So let's have a look what we have when it comes to the scalping that particular level, especially after some kind of the bounce. Well, there you go. Very visible stop count with the candle close below. So immediately you know where is your stop and what might be your target. Because we were discussing a second ago that there are quite few important lines based on the intraday chart as well as on the daily chart, right? So we know that that is going to be our target number 1, that might be target number 2, and if the position is quite big enough, we may let the run for the rest. All right, because that's our entry, that's our stop. All right, so if you know what you do, then that's the way to go. All right, that was the best example I can show. Of course, the real life is completely different. It's not going to be only the cherry at the top of the cake, right? Sometimes we have to take few losses. The streak could be quite long, as I mentioned before. Anyway, so that was the best of the best when it comes to scalping strategy. And as you can see, it is possible to do on a 5-minute chart. All right, that's the 5-minute chart. So the answer to your question is yes, you can try to scalp 5-minute chart, but again, the same principle. If you are trying to scalp 1 minute, 3 minute, or 5-minute chart, you have to prepare yourself. So that was the number 1. But also look at this thing over here. We do know that this green line represents the line based on the daily chart. The move was to the downside, and if you were trying to fade that one, right, it was quite profitable with very tight stop. But well, for myself, even if I was trying to scalp that one and that one, right, the question would be, well, okay, we are reacting at this very, very important level, but why we are not going deeper? Why we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Why we cannot see very deep move after the attack of the possible supply line? Because, well, we are below this daily line, right? So something is cooking, and that's what you have to have in mind, right? Why? Because once we've seen the upside move to the when we've seen the upside move, we knew that this particular intraday line was working as a consolidation phase. In that case, you were prepared after the rally, after taking into the new high, that once we are going to get back into that particular consolidation, especially 50%, you might be good to go to the upside. It was well above 3R risk-reward ratio, right? The next example we have here. Let's move further. Next one. That was the supply. That was the short. That was the retest of that short. So with the stop above, you were able to try to trade this line until it was broke out, right? So you were able to make this trade 3R another time, all right? But what we were discussing, that once something is broken, it might work, especially this one, and it's the way that you have something like, if you do remember, let's make it a different way. If you do remember this line, why we have this line here? Because we have the move to the upside. We have the rejection. Why we have this upper shadow, because it was like this, right? So why we're trying to short this one? Because it was like this. Do you remember the very beginning of this video? No? Just jump back and check it out again. But once we broke through, not the top here is your entry point. This and that is your fucking entry point. I'm so sorry. And you are scalping 5-minute charts like a pro. With that being said, guys, I wish you great next trading session. It was my pleasure to be with you. All the best. See you around. Take care and goodbye.